Welcome, fellow Toastmasters. Welcome, guests. I want to welcome you to Healthmasters, the Arkansas Department of Health, our Toastmasters Club here. I want to share a quote with you before we get started. Somebody said that there are three types of people in the world: those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and those that wonder what happened. And by joining Toastmasters, you've decided to make things happen differently for you, maybe with speeches, maybe with leadership opportunities. And once you set your goals and meet those goals, there are people who are going to wonder what in the world happened with them. Okay? Let's all stand and recite our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You're going to take your seats. As your president, I would like to recognize our guests today. Anybody who's visiting with us for the very first time, I want all of you to stand so we can get a look at you. And if you're visiting with us and it's not your first time, you go ahead and stand as well. Thank you, thank you. At the end of our meeting, I'm going to turn it back over to you so you can give us some comments on how you thought the meeting went, if you have any suggestions for us, so you can keep that in your mind that we will be returning to all of you at the end of our meeting. But I want to make sure I thank you for attending our meeting today, and if you get a chance, or you haven't already, make sure you sign in on the list back there so we can get your email address so we can follow up afterwards with you. I want to get our meeting started today by introducing you to our Toastmaster. Let's bring him up front, Mr. Phillip Borden. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Mr. President, and welcome to the meeting. Good afternoon. If you did not pick up a meeting agenda, they are on the very large back table toward this end of the table. It looks like our meeting will be a little bit less complex than apparently the benefits open enrollment meeting that they've got planned back there. So our materials are on this end next to the clock. We have a couple of fill-ins and meeting agenda help that we need to provide. Looks like we need an counter. Who would like to volunteer to fill in as our counter and ring the bell for us? Nathaniel will do that. We need let's see, who else is not here? That may take care of everything. We have a timer. We have two speakers and two speech evaluators. I just wanted to mention quickly at the beginning of this meeting that I've come to have a newfound appreciation for our meeting location here and how much the Department of Health and Xavier and Human Resources have done to help us have all that we have as a club. I am part of a group of people that's trying to get a new club started in Conway that would be a community club. There are a couple of corporate clubs that meet in Conway that are closed to the public. And why wouldn't a town of 60,000 people be able to support at least one club that's open in the community for anyone to join? Well, someone at the Early Riser Club is trying to get that going as the club sponsor. I will be, if the club ever does come to exist, I'll be one of the club mentors, so I'm looking forward to that. Currently, we've got about 5 or 6 people on board, and I understand that it's a lot of work sometimes to get a club going and to get to charter strength of 20 members. But just in some of the other things that we've run into, a brand new community club with no place to meet, no organization already in place to sponsor it, they are talking about not just the regular dues that we pay and the new member fee, but in addition to that, they are talking about taking the club charter fee and dividing that up among spreading that cost out among all of the new members that join. Well, that's already paid for by us. We found a new meeting location. Fortunately, that will not cost the club anything to meet at that location. It's a nice location. It doesn't compare to this room that we have and all the facilities that we have. We had a demonstration meeting, and everything was going well at the beginning of the meeting until we realized, where's the flag? We didn't have a flag to pledge to, and even if we did charter as a club and pay the charter fee and get all of those materials that they sent, even that wouldn't include a flag and a couple of the other things that you have to think about. Where will that come from and where will the money come from? So I just feel a new appreciation for all that we have as a club, that our main challenge today is how to plug a couple of roles, and we still have every opportunity to have a great meeting, so I look forward to that. I want to introduce our odd counter, Nathaniel, who will be filling in as our odd counter. He will stand and give, mainly for the benefit of our guests, an explanation of what the odd counter role is and how the bell works. Nathaniel?
Sometimes during a speech, filler words, trying to get our thoughts together, we hesitate, and that word normally is or ah. And each time I hear that, I ding the bell, because as you speak, you don't realize how distracting that can be if every couple of words you're going and ah. I had the misfortune of sitting through a speech just this weekend where every other word was like, and if he knew that somebody was keeping up with that, it probably made his speech go a little differently. So that's my job today. So if you hear a ding, you know what I heard.
Thank you. And we will also next hear from our grammarian. One of our new members, Patricia Scott, is filling in as our grammarian and here to present the word of the day. Help me welcome Patricia.
This is kind of fun. I get the word of the day on my Merriam-Webster dictionary every morning, and the word for today is dissociate, which means it's a verb that means to disconnect or disunite. And it's a synonym with disassociate, something that I thought maybe there were some differences, but they're not. So it means the same thing, and here it is in use. Very pertinent for this week. Although both politicians are members of the same party, the senator is trying to dissociate herself from the unpopular governor. So that's our word for the day.
Thank you. And a new segment that we've added to our agenda is assigning someone the role of presenting a Toastmaster Minute, just to come up and give us a brief tip, a brief help to help us be better club members and help our club meetings run better. Here to present today's Toastmaster Minute, help me welcome James Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Double checking, for all the members, you have an index card. All right, thank you. What I'd like for us to do today is have an interactive Toastmasters Minute. What I'd like for you to do is divide the card into 3 sections, and we're going to list the development opportunities that we want to build on, as far as building yourself, with the 3 fundamental parts of Toastmasters being communication, leadership, and networking. If you'll divide the card out into those 3 categories and just write briefly what you want to build or gain. And on the back side of that card, I'd also like for you to write your name, and then we're going to turn these cards into our education vice president, Phillip, at the end of the meeting, and he's going to help us develop the mentoring program. So I'd like for this to be an interactive minute to where you can fill out what you would like to enhance or broaden yourself as far as communication, leadership, and networking. And I'll include that with the thought, this is almost like a list that you take to Walmart. How often do you go to Walmart and just pick up the one thing that you have on your list? And that's what I want us to develop as Toastmasters, because when we have our list, we will often leave with more than what we come in with. Go ahead and take a minute and complete that and pass it in to Phillip before you leave today. Thank you.
Thank you, James. He filled out a card, and I'm also working on mine, so I look forward to seeing what thoughts you'll have on that, and to getting some of those thoughts from some of our members who aren't here today. Our first speaker is Patricia Scott, here to give her icebreaker speech. We are for a treat today for a 6-minute speech entitled "Walk a Mile in My Shoes." Let me welcome Patricia Scott.
Thank you. First, I have to get my shoes out. These are the shoes I'm going to show you. I wanted to share my shoes with you just as a way to tell you something about what I do and why I do it and where I hope that these shoes will lead me. And they look kind of ratty. These are actually nicer looking shoes, so I'm going to start with these. These are the shoes that I wear very often when I do outdoor activities. I love being outdoors. It's one of my very favorite things to do, primarily because it's time with my family. My children love to be outside. We love to hike, we love to canoe, we love to kayak. Sometimes we do mountain biking. So it's a way to have an activity with my family, but it's also really cool in that we can have some time for communication. For example, every evening I walk my crazy hound dog with my husband, and we go through Alsop Park and we can debrief about our day. We can sometimes have time to share our dreams or our frustrations, and likewise with my children. My children and I really like to do things like kayak and canoe together, and when we're doing that, I hear their dreams, I hear their stories, sometimes I hear their worries, but it's really special time for my family and me to be outside. And the other thing that happens to me when I'm outside is it's a way to kind of gain some inspiration. It's where I go for solace. It's where I go to get inspired about something or to reflect about things or to kind of get out my frustrations if I have to walk really fast. It's a really good way to do that. And then lastly, for being outside, which seems really different from the other two things I've explained, it's where I take risks. It's a place that I can push myself beyond my comfort zone. It's a place where I can shoot waterfalls and be a little bit scared, but once I'm down there, it's like, yeah, I did that. Likewise with some activities that I've done with my children. For example, right before I turned 50, I went on a mountain biking trip to the north rim of the Grand Canyon and really definitely pushed myself beyond my comfort zone. It was a little bit scary. It was physically exhausting. Every morning I'd get up for that week we were there and I'd think, I can't do this. I just can't do this. And then I would kind of get excited about the day and what that day would hold for me, even if it meant a very sore bottom as well. And get out and sometimes I had to shove my bike up a hill, but that's okay. And at the end of that trip, I felt like there was really nothing I couldn't accomplish, so I started my doctorate even though I was 50 years old and finished that, and I had no fear. I had no fear of failure at that time. So that was a really good thing, that outdoor activities. So these are my chacos, and these are what I wear very often when I'm outside. Secondly are my dancing shoes. These are really beat up, and yes, they are duct taped together, but I have been studying ballet since I was about 2 or 3 years old, which seems a little ridiculous that I'm not better than I am, but it's my art. I can't sing, I can't draw, I don't play an instrument, but when I dance, it's something that makes me feel like I've got a sense of artistic ability, which I don't have in other realms. So dancing is something that's really special for me. It keeps me sort of fit and keeps me active, and it also keeps me, I guess, a little flexible, which is important in nursing, to be flexible in all realms. And I just also dance for fun. It's a really interesting and fun thing for me to do, along with doing it now with my husband, who has begun to take some ballroom dance lessons with me. We don't wear these, but we do have a lot of fun doing it. And lastly are my work shoes, and these are pretty boring, but I actually started out, believe it or not, in nursing wearing those white shoes that nurses wear. Does anybody ever remember any of those white shoes? I really did wear them. I graduated in 1976, started out with those functional, very practical white shoes. But they've led me to some interesting places. Mostly clinical work is what I've done, and did that in hospitals, and general pediatrics, and outpatient work, mostly in school health. Then that led me next to teaching, which is what I've done a lot of. The last 2 decades of my nursing career spent some clinical and some teaching, both at Vanderbilt and University of Pennsylvania. They led me to teaching, and then now they've led me to doing more public health, program development, program evaluation, hopefully beginning to make an impact on health of children in the state that I actually grew up in. So I'm really looking forward to those shoes leading me to making an impact here in Arkansas, and I hope that you all will be walking with me some as I make impact on children here in Arkansas. Thanks.
Thank you, Patricia. Great job. Our next speaker is Barbara Williams. She and some help that she has brought will present speech number 3 in the Competent Communication Manual, get to the point speech, for a 7-minute speech entitled HIV 01. Help me welcome Barbara Williams.
I'm going to shake your hand because I'm Jeremy. Good morning, visitors, which seem to be the whole HIV section. Oh, my God. I remember those white shoes, Pat. My mom had some. I don't usually do that. Anyway, I left my speech, I think. I have a draft. So we'll go from here. Let's take a listen as Winnie the Pooh, my favorite character, and some of his friends talk about what they know about HIV.
Oh my God, I can't believe they let y'all on the bus with us.
We don't have HIV.
And even today, HIV, AIDS, there are still myths, believe it or not. You cannot get HIV by using someone's fork, knife. You cannot get it by using the same bathroom. You cannot get it by shaking hands. And believe it or not, some people still believe that. However, you can get it from having unprotected sex, Or if you had an STD, that increases your risk of getting HIV. You can also get it by sharing needles, whether it's through drug use, tattoos, body piercings. And a long time ago, we used to do the blood brother, Indian blood. That is most definitely out today. I will not be cutting my arm to be a blood sister to anybody. You can get it by kissing someone that may be infected with HIV if they have an open sore or a cut in their mouth. I am the HIV Ryan White Program Budget Specialist. The HIV program came about after a young boy named Ryan White was infected from a contaminated blood treatment he received, being a severe hemophilia. He was diagnosed in 1984. Even though doctors said he posed no risk to others, many people in the community rallied against his attendance at school. He became a national poster child for HIV and AIDS after he was expelled. Ryan was given 6 months to live, but to the amazement of his doctors, he lived 5 years later than that. He died in 1990, 1 month before his high school graduation. U.S. Congress passed legislation for the Ryan White Care Act shortly after his death. The program that we work in provides services for people living with HIV and AIDS in the United States. The funded amount currently for Arkansas is over $7.5 million, of which $4 million of those dollars are currently used for medication alone. Some people do not know that HIV and AIDS are different. HIV is a virus. AIDS is a more advanced terminal stage of HIV. We currently have over 8,000 Arkansans that have been reported to have HIV in Arkansas. So remember, you cannot tell by looking at someone if they have HIV. A person may feel healthy for many years and not know that they have it, but still can pass it on to others. In conclusion, it's safe to say if you cannot abstain from sex, practice safer sex, and make sure you know your status as well as your partner. Remember, sex with one is sex with many. A tisket, a tasket, a condom, or a casket. You can tell that I didn't make this up, okay? This comes from those guys on the bus. But anyway, feel free to call or visit us for more information about community outreach, HIV testing, and brochures on HIV and various STDs. We're located on the 4th floor in the health department on the north side. Thank you, and thank you to the HIV educational team.
Thank you, Barbara and team, for that very educational speech. I learned a lot of information in that speech, but I'll bet you can guess what phrase I'll remember the most when I leave here today. But yet definitely some good truths and some myths that we want to dissociate ourselves from, being in the public health field. Our next segment of our meeting is for impromptu speaking. One advantage that the people who've heard from up to this point have had is they've had time to prepare what they want to say based on a topic that they chose or material that they knew that they were going to need to talk about. Part of Toastmasters is practicing the skill of impromptu speaking, and here to lead the impromptu speaking portion of our meeting is our table topics master, Tony Bailey.
Mr. Toastmaster. So today's theme is cartoon characters. And I was thinking about cartoon characters. Growing up, I always watched Looney Tunes, like every afternoon after school, watched Looney Tunes. And if I had the chance, I'd watch them today. I just love the Looney Tunes. So I thought we'd talk about cartoon characters a little bit. First question is from Miss Gloria. Who is your favorite cartoon character and why? Stand there if you like.
I was thinking of. Yes, we have had.
Right, thank you. Never heard of that one, but I will try to remember that. Maybe I'll Google it and see if I can find it. So our next question is, which cartoon character are you most like and why? And for that, we're going to call on James. Jimmy Neutron. All right. Good job. Our next question. Which cartoon would you most like to be like and why? And for that, we'll ask David.
Topic master. So the question.
Which cartoon character would you most like to be like?
I most like. Have to say. Dragons. Crossbow. Oh, and when he pulled his bow, this electrical bolt would just shoot out of it. I thought that was so cool. Crossbow, his bow, and his shooting at me. I don't know if you ever played Dungeons and Dragons. I played that as well. I could actually see it on. I remember his name. I'm going to be Googling. But it was so cool that the show was Dungeons and Dragons.
Thank you. Great job. Great job. And the last question, I wrote this because I was thinking about when I went off into the Navy, I met a couple of individuals that I thought they were right from a cartoon. I mean, they acted like, they looked like, it was like, you cannot be serious. They looked like a cartoon character. So this question, which cartoon character reminds you of someone you know and why? And this may be someone you want to disassociate yourself from, but which cartoon character reminds you of someone and why? And for that, we're going to ask our president, Mr. Nathaniel.
You had friends that
Thank you, thank you. Great job, great job. Thank all of our speakers for the impromptu speech. Just in case you were wondering, I had several favorite cartoon characters. A couple of them are kind of odd. I want to share one with you. Y'all remember the Wonder Twins? You know, Wonder Twin powers, you know, activate. I always wanted to be one of the Wonder Twins. Of course, I don't have a twin, though. Guess that wouldn't work. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. Well, let me just point out, you've heard a couple of references to a meeting theme that almost happened. I, at one point, had the idea that I would get the favorite TV cartoon character of every presenter that it would be my job to introduce as Toastmaster, and I would work that into each introduction, and we would carry that out as a meeting theme throughout the day. I didn't hear from quite enough people to make that happen, to make it a consistent thread, but Tony certainly did a great job of taking that idea and building it into table topics. Now we will transition to the evaluation portion of our meeting, and for that I'll hand things off to our general evaluator, a man of many hats today, our president, Nathaniel Noble, our general evaluator.
This is hat number 3 or 4 today, I guess. As a general evaluator, my main job is to evaluate the meeting as a whole. So as I come in, the first thing I notice is that our visitor book is out where it's supposed to be, where everybody can sign in. I notice the flag is up and our banner is up, so everything's in the place they're supposed to be. The Toastmaster did a great job of explaining what the roles were today, and so the visitors could understand what's going on today. The Toastmaster minute, it's different from the way we've normally done it, but it's actually a valuable one to have, which was a unique way of doing it. The speakers, our particular evaluators, will go into more detail about that. The table topic's a great topic, and he did what I would do. I normally call on people who are part of the club to answer your table topics. That way you don't put anybody on the spot and they go, I'm not coming back. They might call on me again to do something. And I like the way you handled that one. And as far as the general evaluation, that's as much as I have to say. I noticed that only one person used the word of the day. Well, did you use it as well, didn't you? 2 people used the word of the day, but neither one of them were our speakers. So I did notice that. And I'll turn it over first to our evaluator number 1 for our first speech, Mr. David Vretny.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and especially Patricia. Wouldn't you like to have Patricia as your teacher? I think everyone's head's nodding just about. I mean, I think she'd be a great teacher. Well, obviously, she's taught for some time. I like the title. I thought the title, Walk a Mile in My Shoes, that was very clever. And I think it was good how she immediately had shoes to show us. And it sort of was all tying together. I really enjoyed that. I thought that we learned a lot about her life. She loves dancing. And, of course, the shoes that reflected that, the chacos for outdoors, and then the ballerina shoes for the dancing. I thought that was very, very clever. And that's really the purpose of the icebreaker, is to learn about the speaker. I liked I think she had a good connection with the audience. She was very sincere. I see that sometimes. You probably see that too, where a speaker's not really being totally sincere. They're trying to be someone that they're not. But I just felt like Patricia is just a very sincere person and just being herself. And I commend her for that. That's difficult. But she has already a great gift in speaking. Also, I thought she had a good connection with the audience because she said some things that were a little bit negative about her, actually, if you caught that. She said, I really can't draw, I can't sing, but I can dance. And I think, as they say, you want to be similar, not special. And so when you sort of take some digs at yourself, just light digs, but it makes you like you're just like everyone else. So I think that was strong, strengthened the connection. And then I liked how she tied the end of the speech to the beginning. I thought that was good because you said, "Hope you'll be walking with me," just like what you started. You started with the shoes about walking, then you ended. So it's like a clock. You start at noon, you tick back to noon. I think that was great. Then the only thing I could think of to make it even better, if maybe you left the lectern and you danced. Just for like 10 seconds. A little bit of a dance. Added just that little bit extra, but you didn't need to do it. It just would have been cool if you did. But overall, we learned a lot about you. You're very sincere. Also, I like the question about, do you remember the white shoes, those white nursing shoes? And you heard a lot of people say, yes, yes. I think questions are good. They involve the audience. Overall, great job on your icebreaker. Look forward to more speeches. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, David. Next, we'll have our second evaluator for speech number 2. Yeah, all right. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Evaluator. Fellow Health Masters, guests, and especially Barbara. HIV 101. Great speech. I really thought actually it was the first time we've actually had outside participation in one of our speeches. That was a great concept. Very good utilization of your resources. The speech was well organized. Had a lot of thought. I could tell that you actually put time into developing the concept of what you wanted to convey with everybody in the audience today. A few things I would point out that maybe could improve on. First, apology at the beginning of it. There's no need to apologize. Nobody knew whether you had your notes or not, your speech, or just go ahead and run with it. A little clutching of the podium. I know that's a security blanket for myself too sometimes, but be more comfortable. I mean, you had a great supporting audience with your and there was a lot of informative information with regards to Ryan White. I did not know that, but one of the most catching things that I believe everybody as the Toastmaster will walk away with: a tisket, a tasket, a condom, or a casket. And I will definitely utilize that with my kids. I mean, even though I have all girls, I'm still going to utilize that same. I like that. I like the concept and the thought. Overall, though, great speech, great participation with the group. Thank you all, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. James Hicks. I didn't introduce him properly. That's what he was waiting for me to say his name so he could come forward. Sorry about that. Next, we'll have well, before we do a grammarian report, I'm the eye counter for today, so I may as well give my report as well. In the Toastmaster Minute, I caught James Hicks one time. I always try to catch him because he caught me once. I never forgot that. And I caught him using once. Patricia Scott, I was about to hit the button, but I don't know if you guys noticed the look she gave me. So I said, I think I'll just keep count to myself, because after that look, it was that teacher look. I felt like I was in class again. So I caught her 3 different times, but I wasn't about to hit the bell on the teacher. Speaker Barbara, number 2, I caught you one time. You said ah. In table topics, only one I found was Gloria, but that was making a transition from, I know she was thinking something in her native language, trying to translate it to English, so I let her slide with that one. Evaluator number 1, David, of course, no ums or ahs, and evaluator number 2. Since I was standing behind you, I just verbally gave you a couple of dings. Now we'll have our grammarian report, which is Patricia Scott. Right? Okay. Gloria will have our timers report.
Okay, my report, my role is to provide a report on times recorded during the meeting and speeches. Our meeting starts on time at 12 p.m. Our first speaker, Patricia, spoke for 5 minutes and 11 seconds. Our second one, Barbara Williams, spoke for 6 minutes and 33 seconds. Our table topic master, Tony, spent 4 minutes and 38 seconds. With, James was 18 seconds, David, 58, Nathaniel, 49. I didn't record myself. General evaluator, Nathaniel, 1 minute and 21 seconds. And for the evaluators, the first one, David, 2 minutes and 44 seconds. The second one, James, 1 minute and 38 seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank Gloria for that timer's report. I'm going to turn you back over into the hands of our Toastmaster for the day, Mr. Phillip Borden.
Thank you. Well, I think today's meeting has gone well. It's been a good meeting, right? A fun meeting. Can you think of someone you'd like to invite as a guest to a meeting like this to hear some fun speeches? And can't promise we'll have a skit next time, but you never know what will happen, really, at a Toastmasters meeting. Wouldn't it be easier to invite a guest if you had a card that you could leave with that person that had all the information on it about our club and how to follow up, how to come to a meeting, and everything that they needed to know? Well, as you know, we have a club contest going on right now to see which team can bring the most guests and new members in. And since that contest is new, I wanted to go ahead and run with an idea that someone smarter than me, I'm not sure which of our members it was, but someone smarter than me actually had that I stole, which is to put all of our information on some little business card that we could print up and hand out to people that we invite. I have added Barbara and Joyce as my team members, basically to plan and figure out what questions we need answers to, and so we are working on that. So we'll get to the bottom of that and put something together that will be either low budget or no budget, and get all that information and get those cards out to us so that we can start doing that. Just wanted to take the last minute or so of my time to plug that idea and get you up to date. So if you have any questions or if you want to help do any of the legwork on that, you certainly may do so. Just see me and talk about that. Let me give you a reminder about the cards that James handed out, and you can get those to me after the meeting. And I think that's everything that we needed to talk about in the meeting itself. I'll turn things back over to our club president, Nathaniel Noble.
I'm getting way too much exercise today. I want to ask our visitors today, I know some of you have been with us more than once, to go ahead and stand and give us your thoughts on today or anything that you'd like to share with us. We have a couple still back there. Your whole team's gone, yeah. Thank you, thank you. Oh, you're fine. Thank you. We have a esteemed Toastmaster with us today. I don't want to pronounce it wrong. Miss Chaka? Chaka, yeah. Okay. Right. Thank you. Thank you. It is definitely a team effort. Trust me on that one. Let's go into business. Is there anything that we need to discuss? I want to thank you guys again for being with us today. I really appreciate you coming out and being with our family today. And let's go into business. Is there anything that we need to discuss? I hope Barbara's on my team.
My team? Barbara's on everyone's team. What? Barbara, you can send me. Drafts that came. Drafts and 5 points if the guest.
She's not on our team. No.
It just, website lists all the teams. Just check it.
Thank you. Is there anything that we need to hit, Phillip? Anything that you need to share? Okay. Any financial things we need to hit, Barbara? Are we good? Okay. All right. I don't know if everybody got the email or not. Yes, Gloria. Oh, that's for the HIV? Okay. All right. I don't know if you got the email, but I'll run through the roles for next week. So if you see somebody, make sure that they check the email so they'll know that they have a role for next week. For our November 5th meeting, our Toastmaster will be Tanisha Richardson. Toastmaster Minute will be Wanda Simon. Speakers will be James Hicks, Phillip Borden, and Dave Rudney. Table Topic Master, Patricia Scott. Journal Evaluator, Tony Bailey. Our speech evaluators will be Dee Shirley, Joyce Biddle, and myself. Grammarian, Betty Watts. Counter, Dana Hill. And Timer, Barbara Williams. You're back over here with the time. So if you're on that list and you know you can't fulfill that role, like I said, our Toastmaster is Tanisha next week, so make sure you get in contact with her or one of us. And if you run into any of those people that I named, make sure you have them check their email. I'll be in another building, so I won't run into any of them. Make sure they check their email to know that they have a role for next week. If there's nothing else, our meeting is adjourned.